elements, the four internal senses, the five senses for gathering knowledge, and the five outward organs of action are known as the pradhana. Hare Krishna. Purport. According to the Bhagavad Gita, the sum total of the 24 elements described herein is called the Yonir Mahad Brahma. The sum total of the living entities is impregnated into this Yonir Mahad Brahma, and they are born in different forms, beginning from Brahma down to the insignificant ant. In the Srimad Bhagavatam and other Vedic literatures, the sum total of the 24 elements, pradhana, is also described as Yonir Mahad Brahma. It is the source of the birth and subsistence of all living entities. Hare Krishna. We'll chant the Mangala Charan prayers. If you know it, please chant along with me. Om Agnantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Putale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Shri Vishakhan Betamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Kaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishnabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nidhi Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today our learning focus is going to be on understanding an overview of material nature. Of course, as Neeru Mataji was mentioning earlier before class started, it's a very difficult subject. And in fact, she has read it many times, but still it is kind of challenging. So here we will attempt to give an overview of that. And then, of course, there are many other lectures on YouTube, on the internet. There's reading material, Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada's lectures that we can do a search and get to know more about this topic. So overview of material nature, and then how it binds or it can liberate jivas. So here this talks about how the jivas are impregnated into the material nature. So material nature, jivas are impregnated in that. And then here we are caught up. Now, it's not a natural situation, how we would be able to get out of this binding. Hare Krishna. So, spiritual knowledge, okay? Keep these 3-4 points in mind. Whenever we are talking about spiritual knowledge, never interpret or concoct. Oh, I think it is like this, I think it is like that. So to give an example, as I was preparing for this class, I called up Madhupati Prabhu in the night, in the evening. There was a point I needed clarification because we have, as you'll see through the slides, how this Sankhya philosophy relates to the 4 types of people, the curious, inquisitive, and the one who's pursuing spiritual knowledge of the absolute truth. how it is a means for them to acquire that. So I was thinking that maybe the other, how they could be categorized into the mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness. I was thinking that distress is mode of ignorance, and greed, artha, to get something, gain, is mode of passion, and curiosity is goodness, and one who's seeking absolute truth is, above these three modes, shuddha, sattva. This is my imagination. But rather than just go ahead with that thought, I called up Madhupati Prabhu, and he clarified that for me. And he said a very simple uh, answer. He says, I haven't read this interpretation anywhere. I don't think that's the way. So this word interpretation is very important whenever we are trying to understand Divya Gyan, because it is so vast and its depth is unlimited. It's a bottomless ocean, Divya Gyan. And we are just tiny, insignificant little capacity, whatever else we have. So, the mind and even our intelligence may try to figure things out. No, it won't work. We'll come to the wrong conclusion. Always take the guidance of a senior Vaishnava, a self-realized person. And that's what it is, Do what the sadhu tells you to do and practice what they teach. So ask any doubt that you have. Ask in a mood of humility, not in a mood to challenge. No, how can it be like this? Prove it to me. Ask, because in a mood of challenge, understanding is we already know it. Now you prove me I'm wrong, or you prove yourself you're right. So no matter what the answer is, it's just going to be an argument. We are not really interested in learning. So ask a sadhu in a mood of humility, and then whatever replies they give, whatever instructions they give, it is very important that we practice it. Otherwise, it is just information, data sitting over here. And the nature is such, this material nature, it is temporary. With age and other conditions, something else will either come and replace it, or we will forget it. Hare Krishna. So if we see over here, Gauranga Prabhu, long back in one of his class, he had said that Shastras provide anything that we require, all the knowledge, including even material knowledge, and it has the answer to every questions. Now, if we see scientists, researchers are spending billions and billions of dollars, either in health research, R&D, this, that, for material, rocket ships, technology, so many things, billions and billions of dollars are being spent. When all that information, what you're trying to find, is available in the Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada's books, so many books that he has written, for a tiny fraction of that cost. So this is what is available in the Shastras, and it becomes very important if you're seriously seeking spiritual knowledge to make it a habit to read these books, to understand it. And when we're understanding it, if we don't understand it, go to this life hack, don't interpret, ask a sadhu, practice whatever instructions they have. Hare Krishna. Now, if we understand that, we have questions, we are inquisitive, we'd like to know more about stuff, then Bhakti Rasamrit Swami, several years ago, maybe 25, 30 years ago, when he used to do home preaching program, he had said that this concept of sarva karana karanam. He says, how do you know sarva karana karanam? So he said, for example, if you ask, who is my father? You'll go back to your father. You know your father. Who is his father? You'll say, okay, you know your grandfather. You probably may know your great-grandfather. And maybe some families go back several generations. But after a while, it stops. But if you keep making inquiries, and if you have that capacity and capability, you'll finally come to one single point, the Supreme Father in this case. That is Krishna. Similarly, anything that you look at, not just the animate things like human beings, father, mother, or whatever else it is, but even if you say, oh, this table, where did it come from? Oh, it came from a tree. The tree, where did the tree come from? Tree came from a seed. Where did the seed come from? It came from the fruit. Where did the fruit come from? So like this, if you go backward, you will always come to that single point of all causes, Sarva Karana Karanam, that is Krishna. Now, the same Krishna, Sarva Karana Karanam, Krishna consciousness, if you're aware of him. So, if you understand what is Krishna consciousness, it is the most inclusive. Of course, in one way, when we say exclusive is something which is priceless, correct? So, Krishna consciousness is priceless, but the beauty is it is exclusive in that sense, it is priceless. However, it is all inclusive. Nobody is barred. Jagai and Madhai, the worst sinners, they also were present. So no matter what your background is, no matter what your belief is, no matter what activities, no matter what heinous kind of things we have done, or no matter what kind of punya we have done, Krishna consciousness is for everybody. And Krishna says, whatever is your reason to approach him, doesn't matter. He's so merciful. He accepts you. And whatever is the means required to bring you closer towards him, he makes it available. And this, he says so himself in Bhagavad Gita 7.16, Chaturvija bhajante mam janasu kirtana arjuna artho jignasa artharthi jnani cha bharatarshaba. This is what Padupati Prabhu shared with me, and he gave these instructions of what it means when, I was trying to think about this modes of material nature in this verse. So what this says is that, these four types of people in the broad categories, the distress, kuch problem hai, someone who is desiring wealth, artha, inquisitive. There are people who are inquisitive, especially our children. Children are born inquisitive. They're born inquisitive. They say that in the first 5 or 6 years of a child's life, 80% of all that he knows, he has acquired. They're like sponge. And that is not just after childbirth, actually even within the womb. That's why in the tradition, in the Sanatan Vedic tradition, it is that when a Mataji is carrying a child, it is so beneficial to listen to all Divya Gyan, spiritual bhajan, kirtan, pravachans, and you have all pictures all around, surround, immerse yourself in Krishna consciousness, because whatever mother is the via media through which the child is absorbing something. Now, in our personal life, Sachi Rani and I, when we had Sachi, at that time, we were practicing Krishna consciousness. Rohil was already born, and then just maybe a year or a few months after his birth, we came to Krishna consciousness. So we could see the contrast between the two children. Sachi spontaneously picked up. Of course, Rohil also would engage at a very little age. He used to do the deity worship of a bhoga. These spiritual practices, what he used to do. But Sachi was spontaneous, and even in her toys, you had that build a bear or something. So in that build a bear, you record, and that bear talks. So she used to record the Mahamantra. And when you play with it, she used to play with it. She used to play the Mahamantra. No, I mean, this is how spontaneity it is. So, parents, even if the child is little, never mind. I mean, immerse yourself, because children learn through our actions. And of course, with us children, being inquisitive, correct? We send them to school to get knowledge, very important. But the entire education system world over, whether it is Harvard or MIT or a very ordinary college, all they teach you is to be wealthy, not happy. Because they think, the understanding is if you have a lot of wealth, money, it will buy you happiness. Of course, it will give some kind of temporary pleasure, but again, we get stuck. So for the inquisitive who's really pursuing the higher knowledge, Divya Gyan, there is Sankhya Yoga. See, I had said, Krishna gives you the means to bring you closer to him. And this Sankhya Yoga is a very analytical, it's a deconstruction of everything around us. So this is the Sankhya Yoga philosophy of Lord Kapila Dev, and it is meant for the inquisitive person or the analytical person. Of course, you take on to bhakti, very simple. Just do the ABCDs, associate, read books, chant, maintain your diet of prasadam, and do deity worship. Just by doing this simple processes, whatever is the knowledge will be revealed to you. The only operative word here is do it seriously, do it attentively, with a lot of feelings, not mechanically. ठीक है, initially mechanically होता है, initially it may be improper, but because Prabhupada says we are following a perfect process, we will reach perfection. Hare Krishna. Okay, now let us understand what this material nature is. The acharyas and so many lectures, so many Vaishnavas always give this example. It's the inverted, like an inverted banyan tree. So on top, what we see here is the spiritual world. It's the proper condition, right? The leaves, fruits, etc. on top, and the roots are down. However, in the material world, it is upside down. Everything is topsy-turvy. The roots are going upward and the thing is here. And it's a perverted reflection. It is not even clear. Something like if you take a purifier like the sun, correct? And if you see it in clear water, and the same thing, the image you see in gutter water. So that's a condition, gutter water. It's all upside down. Now, please understand, there is this confusion that, oh, material world is not real. Ye sab maya hai, illusion hai. No, it is real. It is one of the energy of Krishna. His three main energies, internal, external, and the tatastha, the marginal. So it is the external, bahiranga shakti, correct? And of course, when we say it is eternal, but it's state, yani ki it comes on and it goes off. It comes on and it goes off. And what causes this manifest and unmanifest state is Mahavishnu's breathing. So when he exhales, billions, countless of universes come out. And when he inhales, they all go back into him. Now, the other example is given that it is only about 1/4 of all that there is. It's approximately just 1/4 of the existence. So there are two types of realities. One is the spiritual reality, other is the material reality. And the material reality, physically, if you look at it, is 1/4 the size. And you can think of it like on a clear sky, that's the spiritual sky, there's a small dark cloud in the corner. Now it is actually, Acharya say, it is a prison house for all us criminals, rebellious jivas who wanted, what was a crime? We want to enjoy separately from Krishna. We want to be Ishvara. We want to be the Purusha. We don't want to be the Prakriti. Purusha is the enjoyer, Prakriti is the enjoyed. Okay, so theek hai. Same way as in our society, for miscreants, there's a separate place. That place is for reflection, reformation, think about what you've done, etc., etc. And it is not meant for you to be there forever. You need to come out of that place. And just as prisons have a warden, here it is Durga Ma, who's the superintendent. And she has her officers, her agents, Tamas, Rajas, and Sattva-guna. And this is like putting handcuffs and leg chains on each and every living entity. And that's how we are here stuck in this. So whatever our nature be, people say, अरे उसका nature है, बहुत गुस्सा आता है उसको. अरे उसका nature है, बहुत आलसी है. Nature. So that nature is actually a combination of this mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And that is what triggers. So whatever thought that we have, whatever that we're speaking, whatever actions that we perform is all controlled by these modes of material nature. We do action and then we get the consequence. So the cycle keeps going on and on. Now, it is also called a place of misery. Yeah, Bhagavad Gita 8.15. Dukhalaya ashashvatam. Yani ki full of misery and it's temporary. What is temporary? This janma mrityu jara vyadhi. Birth, old age, disease, death, anything that you see, it's all temporary. There was a documentary, very interesting, on Netflix. I forget the name, but it said that, after mankind is finished, world war, nuclear war, something, not a single entity, human being is alive. What happens to Earth? What will happen to Mother Earth? So they did some kind of research and they found out, and they see that over a time, like several hundred years or whatever else it is, all these buildings and structures will remain. but it becomes like a forest. Then they have done calculations that for a single piece of plastic, how long it takes to get degraded. Every common day items that we use in our household. So they went through this, the material Sankhya philosophy of, trying to figure out these things over here. But the point is that it is temporary. Temporary. Everything is temporary. Nothing lasts. And of course, in the morning when we pray, Gurvashtakam, Samsara Dava Nalalita Loka. What does it mean? It is like a forest fire. Do you think a fire engine can go and put off a forest fire? No, it cannot. Only it can be extinguished by a big rain cloud. So if there is a forest fire and let's say you have a huge, heavy rain cloud and it bursts, you have a cloud burst, that huge thousands and hundreds and thousands of gallons of water just fall in one instant, that extinguishes this forest fire. And that the spiritual master, the analogy is this living, this suffering, this pain, whatever tension, anxiety is like a burning sensation, forest fire. Okay, we have the fire within, the mind, and the fire outside around us, wars, disease, what are the bhautik, all the three types of misery. So the guru is full of mercy, correct? And he's like that rain cloud, it's compared. And only that can pull us out. So here is the significance. If you want to get out of the material world, you must have surrender to a guru who is the recipient of mercy, and he's the conduit through mercy, which comes all the way from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which flows. Other than that, it is just temporary. It's something like putting a band-aid onto a bullet wound, something like putting a fire brigade water to put on a huge fire. Some portion may get extinguished, but again, it will pick up fire over there. Hare Krishna. So if we now come to this material elements, what are they? Here's a pictorial representation. And, Mataji had asked what is Pradhan. So this is from Back to Godhead magazine. I got this chart from Madhuvisha Prabhu. And I think November 2012 or something, whatever. So here's this Pradhan. Mataji was asking Niru Mata, what is it? It's the unmanifested stage of the material nature. Now, we get impregnated into this, correct? Material, and this body we acquire. We get this body. Body is whatever karma that we have done, you get that body. Yeah. And that body is whatever in the womb of the mother, whatever, a dog, mother, cat, human, lion, tiger, whatever it be, that body we get accordingly. Now, when we are in contact with this material elements, what happens? You get this hate, pain, pleasure, desire, all these material afflictions. That's not who we are. That's not what it is. The soul is above and beyond all this. But because we've identified with this, here is where we are caught in this thing. So we have all this information. We can learn a lot, and if we keep in mind, information is meant to bring about transformation, what Krishna Namanand Prabhu had said I think a couple of years ago in one of his classes. There is this example. There is a ripe mango on the tree, and there are two men underneath, looking at it, and a crow comes and it sits on that branch, and as the crow comes, the mango falls, right, on the floor. Then the men are arguing. One says, oh, because the crow fell, that's where it fell on the ground, sat on the branch, it fell. The other person says, no. How can it be? It was already ripe. It was already time to fall down. And that's why. So this is what is exactly happening with Divya Gyan. If we don't put it into practice, if we do not take the shelter of a guru, if we do not clear our doubts from an authority, all we'll get into is speculation, argument, this, that, and also Prabhupada says, Arey, why are you bothering about whether the crow sat on it or whether it was ripe and it fell? It has fallen on the ground. Do something about it, no? Clean it, cut it, offer it as bhoga and eat it. That is much more useful. The information, the of the mango. Now, why are you sitting then usko bolte hai baal ka khal, trying to skin the hair? Kyun kar rahe ho uska? So information is meant to bring about transformation. So whatever we learn, Sankhya, whatever bhakti, whatever lecture that we listen to, try to find what its essence is and practice that. So Sankhya, we see so much information given around us, correct? And then you can start mapping Sarva Karana Karanam. It should remind us of Krishna. When I'm breathing, when I'm drinking water, taste, so many, eyesight. Remember Krishna, be grateful. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. So thank you, everybody. It's 6:59. Also, humble request. Today is my son Rohil's birthday. And please bless him. Thank you, everyone. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Over to you, Madhupati Prabhu.
Thank you, Amritandu. We'd like to wish everybody a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead. And we'd like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Let's offer our prayers to Lord Nrsingadev by chanting Shri Nrsinga, Jai Nrsinga, Jai Nrsinga, Praladesha, Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Pinga. Upravira Mahavishnu Jalantam Sarvakarmakam Nrsingham Vishanam Bhadram Nityam Nityam Namami Aham. Nrsinga Bhagwan ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki
jai.
Let's offer these prayers of Lord Nrsingadev to our dear Rohil on his birthday. And let's offer our humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Mancha kalpatarubhasya patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Vaishnavinda ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanand.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Haribol.
Happy birthday to Rohan. Rohan Prabhuji, what's his name?
Rohil, R-O-H-I-L.
Oh, Rohil. So happy birthday to him.
Happy birthday to your son.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, sir.
Happy Krishna Prabhuji.
Hari.